Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Weiand. Behind every successful man, there stands a woman. That's our topic today as we meet a young lady who has dedicated her life to the success of a man who, because of that devotion, would become a household name. That man is horror franchise icon Jacob Vorski. And that woman is Adrienne Palmer. Miss Palmer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure's all mine.
Now, let's start at the beginning. When did you first cross paths with the notorious Jacob Vorski?
Oh gosh, that takes me all the way back to 1980 summer camp at Lake Murky Waters. When I first met him, a fellow camper at the time, I knew he was something special at that moment. He had big ideas. He had to because he had this giant mutated head.
And special he was. I mean, he was one of the original franchise horror characters.
Well, yes and no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take anything away from Jacob. There was already a long line of horror franchise figures. I mean, in 1960, we had the Motel Murder Mama's Boy.
Yes, and who could forget in 1974, the redneck inbred murder family?
And just a couple years before I met Jacob was the babysitter slasher in the Star Trek mask. So the horror franchise figure had been around for a while, and when Jacob and I went down that path, we wanted to make sure to honor the classics as well as give the fans more of what they desperately wanted.
Which is?
Oh, tits and gore, of course.
Ah. Now, you know Jacob, dare I say, better than anyone. What makes him kill? What makes him tick?
Well, I mean, if you saw your mother murdered with a Hamilton Beach blender, I would assume that would put you in a grumpy mood too.
True, but his mother was also a murderer, correct?
Well, now we're just splitting hairs, aren't we?
Yes, of course. Now, who was it that came up with Jacob's iconic mask?
Oh, I hate to brag, but that was all me. Don't get me wrong, we had some trial and error on that one before we got it right. I'm sorry, I thought this would work. In my defense, if it were up to Jacob, he'd still be wearing that stupid potato sack on his head.
Now, I do have to ask, is there any romantic involvement between you and Jacob?
No. We keep it very professional. Jacob's always been more interested in a paternal figure rather than a lover. As for me, I've been in a committed relationship with a child murderer turned nightmare demon.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, he's dreamy. But Jacob's not too thrilled about me dating his rival.
Well, I can certainly understand why that would cause some tension. What would you say the most challenging part of your job is?
Oh, definitely organization. You see, Jacob doesn't just go out and kill people. There has to be a game plan, an element of surprise. This thing reads like stereo instructions.
I'm sure you have some amazing stories.
Oh yeah, people don't understand all the work that goes into mass slaughter. Not to mention all the times that the final girl kills Jacob off and I have to bring him back.
Final girl?
Yeah, the final girl. You know, a girl, usually a virgin, somehow survives Jacob's attacks and puts him down. It's exhausting.
I can imagine.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to resurrect a serial killer after the 13th time? It's insane. I'm amazed there's anything left of him.
Klaptu, Frata, Niktu.
Great.
Incredible. Now, how about the Copycats?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned having to bring Jacob back. What about the times that Jacob was down for the count and a copycat took his place?
Well, I mean, they say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I'm not a fan. I mean, nobody's interested in a copycat. They want the original. I feel like the fans end up being ripped off if it's not Jacob.
Well, now, while I'll admit, initially when the copycat incident happened, it was met with resistance, I really do feel that, looking back, the fans really warmed up to the idea.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one, Roy. If anyone is looking back at the copycat murders with fondness, it's out of nostalgia. Not to mention that modern-day franchise killers are pretty lame.
Now, what about that bloody clown and little girl?
Okay, fine. People love the clown. I can't stand the damn thing.
What are Jacob's thoughts on copycat killers?
Oh, I can tell you without question that Jacob hates the copycats, almost as much as he hates fan films about him.
Roy, what's going on?
No, it can't be. Why?
We have to keep the audience interested. Otherwise, they'll tune out.
This isn't the way. The people want Jacob.
Oh, Jacob's old news. I mean, what are you going to do with him? You're going to have him fight a girl with telekinetic powers? You're going to put him on a boat and have him kill people in a big city? I know. You can shoot him off into space, right?
Oh, come on. That's just dumb.
One thing's for sure. There's no sequel for you.
You're doomed. You're all doomed.
I'll take my chances. This concludes our program for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
What the hell was that? It can't be real. Probably just a Rich playing some practical joke on me. I'm gonna give him a piece of my mind.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host. Sorry.
You're supposed to be the professional here.
I know. I've been drinking.
I got one.
I was trying. If you'd shut the fuck up. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry.
Jesus fuck.
Who's the director? I'm sorry.
Can we get a director?
There's no sequel for you.
Oh, yeah.
It can't be. But why?
Jacob's old news. Oh, it's not going. Sorry.
Layla, put the machete down and start slow dancing. Twirl her around. Pick her up like Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey. We got it. It cut. All right, we got it.
Okay, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh!
I knew you were gonna do that.
I'm sure it was